This homeless man's life changed overnight when he found a rare photo in the trash.
But before we start, please make sure to subscribe to Did You Know and hit the bell so you never miss an upload from us. Also, leave a like right now.
For store owner Alex Archbold, Adam Jillian was a familiar and welcome face in his store. Homeless and always on the hunt for unique treasures to sell in order to keep a warm meal in his belly, Jillian frequently did business with Archbold at his store in Edmonton, Canada. However, when Jillian brought in a rare Disney print and sold it to Archbold, he later discovered it was extremely special. This story is one of an accidental find and how it changed one kind man's life forever. We hope you have some tissues. Homelessness is an epidemic that is far-reaching. While we see homeless people in abundance here in the United States, other parts of the world are dealing with a large portion of their country's populations winding up on the streets. Being homeless can be a degrading experience. You can lose your sense of self, and as months turn to years, hope slowly begins to fade. Being homeless in the winter is especially hard in Edmonton, Canada. It can be absolutely miserable. The frigid temperatures make living in the streets nearly impossible, and with a lack of shelters to rest, being homeless can turn into a hunt for warmth. For Jillian, living on the streets had become a way of life, but it wasn't always that way. He had originally moved from Stratford, Ontario to be with family, taking a job working in drywall. Things were beginning to look up. Sadly, after his life took a hard turn, he lost his job and things seemed to unravel quickly. With the loss of his job and finances dwindling, Jillian's life began to slowly dismantle. He battled with depression and he would lose his 3 children to foster care. Soon, he could no longer afford the mortgage on his home. Jillian didn't think things could get any worse. Then they did. In the end, Jillian found himself living on the streets. Sometimes he would crash with friends or find a 24-hour restaurant to keep him warm, but ultimately he would find himself lost and alone. Weeks turned to months, and before long, Jillian had lived 3 years on the streets. One thing homeless men and women have in common is that they're desperate for money. Whether they are trying to earn enough for a hot meal or a warm bed for the night, cash can be really hard to come by. Realizing panhandling was getting him nowhere, Jillian decided to try a different tactic. Jillian began to dumpster dive, also known as binning. The process of dumpster diving basically involved searching through dumpsters and finding people's trash for items of value. Jillian would then take these items to the pawn shops and places that he could trade them for cash. Dumpster diving is actually fairly common among the homeless community. It is a means to an end and sometimes provides a nice financial boost. Jillian would hunt through the dumpsters with his street friends and they would divide the earnings on good days. While it wasn't the best job in the world, it was a way to keep his head above the water in these hard times. While the proceeds from dumpster diving weren't enough to live off, it did make the difference between going hungry and affording a hot meal. And during the winter, the opportunity to eat something hot was a rare treat. Despite it being a hard life, this is how Jillian spent 3 years trying to get by. He relied on good fortune and his keen eye to spot valuables in the trash. This hobby led him to Curiosity Inc., an antique store where he could sell his goods. As time went on, Jillian became good friends with the workers in the store. They always enjoyed doing business with him and could always rely on him to bring in some rare finds. And one day, Jillian brought in an item that truly was a remarkable discovery. It would be during one of Jillian's routine hunts that he would stumble upon an old print from the Disney film Bambi. It was in excellent condition, framed, and featured the classic hand-drawn animation from the past. Plus, who doesn't love the story of the little fawn who grew up to be king of the forest? Jillian was thrilled when he discovered the print, hoping it would make him enough for a hot meal at the local diner. He knew the film was a beloved classic, and it had been a huge hit when it was released in 1942. What makes the story even more special is that it was based on a classic novel. Written by Felix Salten, Bambi, A Life in the Woods touched Walt Disney's heart when he read it. It was one of the first films he wanted to make originally, but he had to wait for the technology to pull it off the right way. The love and devotion surrounding this film has made Bambi collectibles quite valuable. Jillian was excited about his find and went to several different stores hoping to make a sale. Sadly, no one seemed interested. Thankfully, Jillian decided to stop by at Curiosity Inc. to see if his buddies might be interested in giving him a few dollars for it. Alex Archbold was the owner of Curiosity Inc. and knew Jillian well. A self-described entrepreneur and antique dealer, he kept weekly video updates of his rare finds on YouTube. He also loved to go on adventures to new places and document his experiences. According to Archbold, Jillian always had a keen eye for rare finds. He was also a delight to deal with and could always strike up a great conversation. Therefore, when he came in on that cold winter day, he was curious to see what he had found. Archbold took great pride in his store and loved to show it off on Instagram. An eclectic mix of antiques, from video games to magazines, you could find anything and everything in this oddball store. Archbold was immediately intrigued by the Bambi print and offered Jillian $20, which he happily accepted. "I thought, well, it's Bambi. I can probably clean it up," the entrepreneur recalled. After Jillian went on his way, Archbold decided to remove the frame from the print to examine it. Much to his surprise, he discovered a certificate of authenticity behind the picture. It seemed Jillian had found an actual piece of celluloid from the original film. What made the print even rarer is the copyright was from 1937, which meant that the artwork was created 5 years before the film was released. Immediately, he placed it on eBay and was shocked when it sold for roughly $2,800. Talk about an amazing profit. After the print sold, Archbold didn't feel it was fair to keep all of the money. Jillian deserved to get a portion of it. However, finding him could prove to be difficult. How could he possibly find one homeless man in all of Edmonton? Archbold searched high and low, but there was no sign of Jillian anywhere. He searched the dumpsters and the camps that the homeless liked to frequent, but it seemed his treasure hunting friend had vanished. Then one day, out of the blue, Jillian stopped into the store. Archbold wanted to surprise him with his share of the sale and set up a faux interview with Jillian the following day for his YouTube channel. Little did Jillian know that his life was about to make a very drastic turn. When Jillian arrived the next day, Archbold conducted his interview. At first, he asked about Jillian's past, learning about his family and why he had ended up on the streets. Then, Archbold shifted to discussing Jillian's dumpster diving and the treasures he has collected throughout the years. When asking about some of his favorite finds, Jillian revealed that discarded jewelry has always been a real treat to discover. He once found a $300 pocket watch from 1968, and on one occasion some silver quarters. It amazed Jillian all of the things that people threw away by accident or on purpose. At this point in time, Archbold shifted the interview to the rare Bambi print. He informed Jillian that he had sold it on eBay for more than he expected and wanted to give him his share of the sale. Handing the man an envelope, Jillian opened it slowly to find a stack of cash. "There's a little bit of money in there for you," Archbold adds. "There's $1,635. To say Jillian was overwhelmed would be an understatement. Then, Archbold revealed that he would like to set up a GoFundMe page for Jillian in an effort to help get him off the streets. Jillian humbly accepted, and the fundraiser reached over $18,000, much to his delight. After posting Jillian's story on YouTube, it soon went viral. During this time, Jillian's family, who had lost touch with him over the years, reached out to Archbold. They hoped they could reunite and help him get off the streets. Archbold immediately contacted Jillian, who was thrilled. It seemed he would soon be getting his family back. Archbold went with Jillian to the train station the day he was heading out to meet with his family after 3 years apart. Later, Archbold posted an update on Jillian with best wishes for his success in life. He stated, "Couldn't be happier for the guy. Couldn't be happier for you, Jillian, and I hope you take advantage of this opportunity when you're back home around your family and loved ones to put your best foot forward. Much love from our family and from our business to you and yours. We hope so too. Talk about getting a second chance at life."